Let's be honest. The moment a woman feels that quiet pull toward an older man, something inside her shifts before she ever admits it out loud. It's not about age the way people joke about it. It's about gravity. It's about the feeling that this man might see through her, steady her, or even challenge the version of herself she's been performing for the world. And that feeling makes her uneasy, so she doesn't lean in right away. She tests, not with games you can spot easily, but with questions that sound innocent and land heavy. I want you to hear this the way a mentor would say it, because no one ever explains it to men. When a woman craves an older man, she is standing at a psychological crossroads. One path is comfort, predictability, and the familiar chaos she already knows. The other path is growth, accountability, and emotional exposure. Older men often represent that second path, and that scares her just enough to probe before she commits. She's asking herself, without realizing it, is this man emotionally stable, or is he just older? Is he grounded, or is he hiding behind experience? Will he lead me, or will he need me to reassure him? Her attraction sharpens her awareness, and awareness turns into tests, not cruel ones, protective ones. The first thing you need to understand is that women don't test men they don't care about. Indifference never asks questions. Curiosity does. When a woman starts craving an older man, she is measuring whether his presence feels like a safe harbor or a silent threat to her independence. She's trying to sense whether his confidence is calm or brittle, whether his boundaries are strong or reactive, whether his past made him wiser or resentful. Here's where many men fail without realizing it. They hear these questions as challenges to their worth, their masculinity, or their authority, so they over-explain, they defend, they posture. And in doing so, they reveal insecurity where steadiness was expected. An older man who truly carries weight doesn't rush to prove himself. He understands that being tested is a sign of value, not disrespect. A woman craving an older man is often younger emotionally, even if she's accomplished, intelligent, and confident on the surface. She wants to feel held without being controlled. She wants depth without drama. She wants to know that if she leans into you, you won't collapse, cling, or disappear. Her questions are the doorway to that answer. And here's the uncomfortable truth most men never hear. She is also testing herself through you. She's asking whether she's ready to step into a more grounded dynamic or if she will sabotage it to return to what feels familiar. Your responses don't just reveal who you are, they mirror who she is becoming. This is why these moments matter more than attraction, charm, or age. This is where polarity is decided, not in how smooth you are, but in how centered you remain when the questions come quietly, wrapped in curiosity, carrying far more weight than they appear to on the surface. The two questions she asks are deceptively simple, almost casual, but they carry the full weight of her desire, fear, and subconscious judgment. Most men hear them and laugh them off, answer them superficially, and wonder why she loses interest despite all the effort they put into appearances, humor, or flattery. That's because these questions are not about the words. They're about the stability behind the words, the subtle energy you radiate when she asks. She's scanning for consistency, maturity, and emotional gravity. The first question always lands like this. Have you ever been truly alone? On the surface, it's innocent curiosity. But what she's really probing is your relationship with yourself. Can you sit with discomfort without needing external validation? Can you face your past without bitterness? Can you handle silence without anxiety? Older men who understand themselves answer this without drama. They reveal depth without defensiveness, and they carry no need to impress. They don't brag about experiences or exaggerate wisdom. They simply reflect a quiet authenticity that makes her feel safe and intrigued at the same time. If your answer falters, wavers, or feels rehearsed, she will notice immediately. Women have an uncanny radar for energy, for incongruence between words and presence. She's not asking because she wants stories. She's asking to gauge whether you've built internal resilience, the kind of resilience that allows her to lean into you without fearing your collapse, your ego, or your judgment. She's seeing if your solitude has matured you, sharpened your perspective, and deepened your empathy. The second question seems even lighter. What do you want? At first, it sounds like casual curiosity, but she's testing clarity, vision, and intention. She wants to see if your life has direction, if your goals are rooted in self-respect and purpose, and if your actions align with your words. Older men understand that clarity is magnetic. It doesn't need to be loud or flashy. It's a quiet confidence that hints at competence, stability, and control. When she asks this, she's not fishing for an answer to copy or emulate. She's watching how your answer makes the space between you feel. Does it feel safe, alive, inspiring, or does it feel empty, vague, or anxious? Many men panic here. They feel pressure to perform or to impress. They recite dreams they don't truly own or describe plans without conviction. She senses the mismatch immediately. Older men, the kind women subconsciously crave, don't panic. They answer simply, clearly, and with the weight of experience, letting their life speak for them. She feels the stability radiating from you, and it ignites a pull she can't articulate. This is why younger or insecure men fail when faced with her subtle tests. They treat the questions as obstacles, as criticisms, but an older man sees them as mirrors, both of himself and of her. Her questions are not traps, they are invitations, invitations to show that you are anchored, self-aware, and alive. Invitations to reveal that your presence is not fragile, your past is owned, and your path is intentional. And when she senses this alignment, when both questions are answered with quiet authority and emotional depth, she begins to crave more than your attention. She begins to crave your stability. The pull she feels isn't just attraction, it's recognition. Recognition that you are different from the rest, that you can hold space, absorb her energy without losing yourself, and navigate life's uncertainties with steady hands. That's what makes her linger, wonder, and, most importantly, test further. What she's really doing when she asks these questions is scanning for a kind of emotional gravity most men don't even realize exists. She wants a man whose presence shifts her world, not because he dominates it, but because he anchors it. Most men mistake attraction for charm, humor, or status. She's looking past all of that. She's searching for proof that you can withstand her storms, internal and external, and remain unmoved in the right way, compassionate, grounded, and confident. Think about it. When a woman craves an older man, she's not chasing him for his money, his experience, or his accolades. She's chasing the energy that comes from a life fully owned. The first question, have you ever been truly alone, isn't about loneliness. It's about self-sufficiency. Can you face your own life without seeking her as a prop? Can you tolerate your own thoughts without running from them? Can you find satisfaction in your own presence before you consider sharing it? The way you answer, or more accurately, the way you exist when you answer, tells her everything she needs to know. She's testing for patience too. Her craving for an older man is matched by an instinctual fear. Fear that he will be just like every other man who promises stability and then crumbles under pressure. She asks these questions to see if you can stay present without rushing her. If you respond with urgency, defensiveness, or anxiety, she will instinctively pull back. The man she desires doesn't chase reassurance, he radiates it. He doesn't demand explanation, he offers perspective. He doesn't collapse under pressure, he embodies calm authority. And the second question, what do you want, is even more revealing than most men realize. She isn't merely asking about career goals or life ambitions. She's probing your clarity, your vision, and your integrity. She wants to see if your life moves with intention or drift. She wants to see if your desires are rooted in confidence and authenticity, or if they are fragile projections of fear, pride, or insecurity. How you articulate your wants and how you carry them will either draw her in or push her away. A man who answers with conviction, without arrogance or self-doubt, triggers something primal in her psychology, admiration paired with emotional safety. Here's the subtle truth. Women crave older men not just for what they have, but for what they embody. They crave stability when the world feels chaotic. They crave depth when the surface of life is shallow. They crave calm when emotion is volatile, and they crave presence when past relationships have left them doubting their worth. Your answers, your presence, and your energy are the silent language that communicates, I can be that man. Most men never notice this. They respond with rehearsed charm, jokes, or attempts to impress, and the subtle cue slips by. But when an older man embodies quiet confidence, grounded self-awareness, and emotional resilience, she feels it immediately. That pull she can't name is recognition. Recognition that this man is different, that this man can be a mirror, a stabilizer, and a catalyst for her best self. And it's that subtle, almost invisible presence that makes her linger, wonder, and crave connection. Her questions are not obstacles, they are invitations. Invitations to show that you are anchored, self-aware, and alive. Invitations to reveal that your presence is not fragile, your past is owned, and your path is intentional. And when she senses this alignment, when both questions are answered with quiet authority and emotional depth, she begins to crave more than your attention. She begins to crave your stability. She's not just testing your words, she's testing your energy. Every glance, every pause, every subtle tone in your voice becomes a signal. Women who crave older men have an instinct honed by evolution and experience. They can sense whether a man's stability is real or performative. They don't just ask questions. They watch how you exist while the questions hang in the air. And this is where most men fail. They try to perform wisdom instead of embodying it. They try to convince her instead of simply being the man who doesn't need convincing. The first test, have you ever been truly alone, forces introspection. She's looking past your answer to see how comfortable you are in your own skin. Can you tolerate solitude? Can you sit with your thoughts without distraction? Can you face life's uncertainties without lashing out or collapsing? An older man who has lived, lost, and learned understands that life's weight doesn't need to be shouted. It needs to be carried quietly, with dignity. She senses that immediately, like a compass detecting true north. And here's the part most men don't get. The depth she craves doesn't come from stories or achievements. It comes from presence, from the way you move through your own life without seeking constant approval, from the steadiness in your reactions, from the calm patience that says, I am myself. I do not need to prove it to you or anyone else. That energy is magnetic. It triggers a craving she didn't even realize she had. It whispers stability, reliability, and a promise of emotional safety without needing to make promises at all. The second question, what do you want, is even more revealing. She's testing your vision and your conviction. Not because she wants to control your life, but because she wants to know if you can navigate yours with clarity. Does your purpose anchor you, or do you drift? Can you take charge of your path without arrogance, without ego, without forcing it onto others? When she hears your answer, she's absorbing more than words. She's absorbing alignment. Alignment between who you say you are and who you actually are. If your energy matches your intentions, she will feel drawn to you in ways that words cannot explain. Many men misunderstand this. They believe that attraction is built on charm, humor, or cleverness. But for a woman craving an older man, the attraction is deeper. It's emotional, psychological, almost primal. It's triggered by confidence without neediness, presence without attachment, and clarity without rigidity. She is scanning for someone who can hold her world steady while allowing her to be herself fully. That's the invisible magnet that older men possess. Let me be blunt. If you falter here, she will test again. Not because she doubts you, but because she needs repeated reassurance that this man, this rare, older energy, is real. She is craving someone who won't collapse under scrutiny, who won't overreact, who won't seek validation. She wants a man who embodies quiet authority and emotional intelligence so profoundly that she feels both safe and excited simply by existing near him. And here's the most important truth. These questions, subtle as they are your chance to prove that you are that man, not through performance, not through charm, not through impressing her, but through the weight of your own presence. When she sees that, everything changes. She doesn't just want attention, she wants connection, respect, and the rare magnetism of a man who's truly grounded. What most men fail to see is that when she asks these questions, she's also testing your emotional reflexes. She's watching how you react under subtle pressure, not overt confrontation. She's checking whether your calm is authentic or just a mask. And this is where older men excel, without even trying, because they've lived enough to know that reactions reveal far more than words. Your silence, your measured pause, the slight shift in tone, the depth behind your gaze, these speak louder than any answer you could recite from a book or a podcast. The first question, have you ever been truly alone, is an emotional X-ray. She's probing your resilience, your self-sufficiency, and your ability to sit in discomfort. A man who panics, who over-explains, or who tries to dramatize his experiences instantly signals fragility. But a man who can acknowledge solitude with quiet dignity communicates strength without needing to prove it. That quiet acceptance of self is magnetic. It tells her that you are comfortable in your skin, that your life has weight, and that you can hold space for both her presence and absence. That energy, subtle as it is, creates longing. It triggers curiosity. It makes her crave not just your attention, but your essence. The second question, what do you want, is a mirror. It reflects whether your vision of life is anchored or drifting. When she asks this, she's looking for alignment between desire and action. She wants to see clarity that doesn't shout for recognition, confidence that doesn't need validation, and intent that isn't rigid but is undeniable. An older man who answers with conviction, without arrogance or defensiveness, demonstrates a mastery that younger men can rarely emulate. It's not about impressing her, it's about showing that your life is coherent, deliberate, and intentional. That coherence sparks trust, and trust fuels craving. Here's the subtle psychological truth. When a woman craves an older man, she is simultaneously testing herself. She wants to know if she is ready to step into a dynamic that challenges her, stabilizes her, and holds her accountable. If your presence triggers growth, safety, and inspiration, she will unconsciously gravitate toward you. If it triggers uncertainty, neediness, or insecurity, she will pull back, even if your charm, looks, or wealth are present. She's looking for the mirror that reflects both the man she wants and the version of herself she is ready to become. Most men miss this entirely. They focus on superficial attraction, looks, humor, status. But she is craving a deeper resonance. She wants emotional gravity, presence, and maturity. The pull is not about what you say, it's about the invisible weight you carry, the stability you radiate, and the unspoken promise that life with you is anchored, not turbulent. This is why older men often ignite a craving, younger men cannot, because attraction at this level transcends chemistry. It's psychological, emotional, and profoundly magnetic. And here's the final, unspoken test embedded in these questions. She is gauging whether you can maintain composure while she subtly tests boundaries, fears, and insecurities. Can you be consistent without rigidity? Can you offer guidance without control? Can you radiate confidence without arrogance? This is where the true power of an older man reveals itself, through presence, not performance. Now here's something I want you to do. Think about it carefully. If a woman asks you these two questions today, what authentic response would reflect your life, your growth, and your presence? Write your answer in the comments below. And while you're at it, like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend who needs to hear this truth. By now, you should understand why these questions are more than curiosity. They are gateways. When a woman craves an older man, she is silently measuring whether you are the kind of man who can anchor her world while allowing her to grow. And this is where most men stumble. They think attraction is earned through charm, money, or clever lines. But the truth is, attraction of this depth is earned through presence, consistency, and emotional weight. She's looking for a man whose life is fully his own, whose confidence doesn't need to seek approval, and whose stability creates a gravitational pull that is impossible to ignore. Think about the first question again. Have you ever been truly alone? This isn't just about loneliness. It's about your relationship with yourself. Can you tolerate your own thoughts? Can you navigate discomfort without lashing out? Can you reflect on past mistakes without shame or defensiveness? A man who embodies these qualities doesn't just answer the question. He radiates the answer through presence. And she feels it in the core of her being. This is the magnetic signal she is unconsciously scanning for. A man whose life isn't dependent on anyone else to feel complete. The second question, what do you want, is equally powerful. It exposes clarity, intention, and alignment. Women are instinctively drawn to men who live deliberately, not loudly, not arrogantly, but with quiet conviction. They can tell the difference between dreams rooted in purpose and fantasies rooted in ego. When you answer this with authenticity, you trigger both respect and desire. She begins to see not just what you want, but the energy of the man behind the wants. The confidence, the consistency, the emotional depth that separates you from every other man she's encountered. Here's the final truth most men never hear. She is testing you because she senses your potential to shape the emotional dynamic between you. If you remain grounded, calm, and present, she begins to crave your energy, your stability, your perspective. Attraction becomes inevitable, not because of looks, money, or social proof, but because of the quiet authority of your presence. When a woman senses that kind of man, she doesn't just want connection, she wants transformation. She wants to lean in, learn, and grow with him. Now, I want you to take a moment and reflect. If she asked you these two questions today, how would your life, your presence, and your answers reveal your authenticity? What would you say that is truly you? Not rehearsed, not performative, but raw, grounded, and alive. That's the equation of attraction she's unconsciously calculating every time she's near a man like you. So here's what I want you to do right now. Write your authentic answer in the comments below. And if this video sparked something inside you, hit like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who needs to understand this truth. Because the difference between being wanted and being craved lies not in charm, it lies in presence. Not in what you say, it lies in who you are. Be that man.